Welcome back to Critical Mass, the show that criticizes the critics. Some say that the most important aspect of a story is the theme. However, that is not a universal belief, with the theme of some stories getting interchanged when it goes from being a comic book to becoming a movie. But is this right? Is it acceptable to change the theme of a story when it becomes a film? Now, this is a difficult topic to tackle, especially since themes can be very subjective, as not everyone will necessarily extract the same message as everyone else, which makes it all the more prone to reinterpretation when it transfers from one platform to another. But regardless as to whether it's intentional or not, a film having a different theme than what the viewer is expecting can create a lot of fan backlash, and understandably so. Let's look at some examples. First up, V for Vendetta. Now, I have previously covered this one in an episode of Cheaper Pop Culture, but real quick, the theme of the book, as designated by the author Alan Moore, was about anarchy and anti-fascism. The movie, on the other hand, was more of an anti-conservative piece. Or how about Ready Player One? The book tells a story about Wade Watts and his need to not isolate himself as he learns to become a part of a family. And while some hints of this are still present in the film, the movie had more emphasis on the virtues of the real world over the virtual one. Now, in both of these examples, we can see that the theme changes are not super drastic. They are adjacent to the ones in the source material. But how about something with a more extreme alteration, like with Superman? Superman was created to be the ultimate immigrant story. His themes were reflective of Jewish immigrants achieving the American dream. But then, let's look at the movie Man of Steel. In the DCEU, Kryptonians were explorers rather than immigrants, and while that is pretty close, let's turn it over to Clark, because the story of him going from immigrant to success really wasn't the focus like it was in the original comic books. So it really isn't all that surprising that this thematic change was fine by some fans, but not so much by others. Now personally, I feel that it's perfectly okay to change a story's theme, but only for certain properties and only when it makes sense, which really doesn't happen very often. I do feel that the theme of a story is the most important aspect, which is something I feel that a lot of modern audiences tend to overlook. However, I also understand that sometimes it takes a good long time for a property to get turned into a movie, so I get that certain issues that were prevalent at the time of the source material may not be as prevalent at the time that the film rolls around. And so, using the story to tell a tale reflective of the modern era is perfectly logical. Furthermore, in the case of Ready Player One, I think the theme change works because of the shift in media specifically. A film that is made up of a lot of CGI can easily tell its audience to unplug. However, if you're reading an actual book, you probably don't have that problem. And I know they have digital books and you can listen to someone else reading the book for you as well. But my point is, I can understand changes like these because, well, they make sense. However, you could also make the argument that the theme of isolation is a universal one, and with not much time passing between the novel's publication and the movie, well, it's still just as prevalent. However, that brings me to the core crux of the issue. If you just have to change a theme, you better have a good reason for it. The theme should be one worth telling, and it should make sense for the property. If it doesn't, the backlash you receive will be well earned, especially since themes are what connect people to a story the most. However, if a story's theme is different from that of its source material, but it's still logical, effective, and worth telling, then perhaps even the most hardcore fans need to just give it a chance. But what do you think? How do you feel about changing a story's theme? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe right here to Dave Knows Comics. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, Dave knows.